This is exactly what the Bills needed. What a showing out in MetLife by the Bills. But let's talk about it all right here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bills Digest. I'm your host, Anthony Senicar, and we are officially in the full swing of the Bills season, but there's only one issue. 73% of you guys who are watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. Subscribe, join the army here at Bills Digest to stay in touch with all your latest Bills news, because we got you guys covered for the rest of the season. And like I said, guys, this game was exactly what the Bills needed. The Bills go into MetLife and absolutely whoop the Jets behind. They finish off the game winning 30-10. What a showing by the Bills running game, and what a statement game by Bobby Babbitt, Sean McDermott, and the Bills defense. The box score looks miserable if you are a Jets fan. They finish with 154 total yards of offense. Justin Fields gets a concussion in the third quarter, but before then, it was already a complete blowout. The offense did what it did. It was one of those days where Josh didn't have to throw the ball a ton, and Jimbo in the run game just went loose. Josh ends up finishing the game with one of the 14 for 24, 148 passing yards, zero passing TDs, 6 carries for 50 yards. There was a slight scare in the first half. Josh Allen goes down and runs directly to the sideline. Mitch Trubisky comes in and throws a dot to Joshua Palmer. But what the Bills fans were concerned about, what all of us were concerned about, was what was going on with Josh. We find out Josh dislocates his nose. They're doing some patchwork on it, putting it back into place, and just stuffing a bunch of cotton swabs into his nose. He ends up finishing the game, so nothing to be overly concerned about. Visor Josh might be loading, so that could be interesting, but nothing to be concerned about with Josh. But hats off to Jimbo and the run game. Jimbo has 21 carries for 132 rushing yards, 6.3 yards per attempt, 1 catch, 3 receiving yards, and 2 total touchdowns. On his touchdown run, he looked like just a vintage Jimbo run, cuts inside, breaks a tackle, and just bounces it back inside and goes outside again, and it's off to the races. Jimbo was having his way, and I think we are seeing that he is worth the contract that he wanted. He is a very good runner in this league. He fits perfectly into the Bills system. And having this balanced offensive attack lets the Bills not so much put so much pressure on Josh. It's like a bye week for Josh, as in you put in the Superman cape last week against Baltimore. This week, you know what? We're just going to run it down their throats with Jimbo. And Jimbo showed up with 2 touchdowns and 132 on the ground. And hats off to Joe Brady in this offense. Even against a pretty good Jets defense, they marched the ball. They controlled the line of scrimmage. Josh got throws when he needed to. And it looks like that there is a chemistry growing with Josh and Joshua Palmer. Keon still looks pretty solid. Kincaid looks like he is flourishing into the tight end that the Bills draft him as. It looks like that third-year tight end step is actually happening, because he had some big catches on some big third downs. But let's talk about the real star of the show. The Bills defense allowed over 200 yards on the ground last week, 400 total yards by the Ravens, 40 points. Looked like just an abysmal defense, and there were talk all week of what the Bills defense was going to do facing Breece Hall, who has a history of having big games against the Jets, Justin Fields, who obviously had a good game against Pittsburgh, Garrett Wilson. What do the Bills do? What does the Bills defense do? Well, the Bills defense allowed a total of 154 yards. That ranks 4th fewest they've given up in a single game in the McDermott era. It was crazy. If you take away the 49-yard scramble again or from Justin Fields, they had just over 30 yards rushing. The Bills heard the talk from outside that they had no run defense, even without Ed Oliver, and they allow, taking away the big 49-yard run, they allow just under 30 or 40 yards of total rushing. They hold Breece Hall to under 25 rushing yards. They heard the noise and they said, okay, let's do it. They shut down the run game. They shut down the passing game. I mean, look at this. Look at this. The Bills limited the Jets to 2 completions in the first half, making it the first time the Bills have done this since 2021. And that Patriots game was in the wind game where the Bills got ran on by the Patriots, where Mac Jones, I think, had 3 receptions. But the Bills shut down Justin Fields, and the D-line had itself a day. Let's be honest. On the PFF grades, our 2 edge rushers, Joey Bosa and Greg Rousseau, played phenomenal. Daquan Jones played really good. Trey White, on a limited snap basis, looked solid. He didn't look like the old Trey White, but he looked very good. And I think that last week was an anomaly. The Bills were playing, the second best team, or the second best team in the NFL, maybe the best team in the NFL from top to bottom on paper. And they still snuck out a victory. But again, you got to pick your poison with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. When they go to a team, an average of the pack team, the Bills have a middle of the pack offense that strives on turnovers. Look at this. The Buffalo Bills have won the turnover battles in 24 straight games. That's the longest such streak in NFL history. The Bills and Bobby Babich, they capitalize on turnovers. They get turnovers when they need it. Last week, they needed a turnover to win the game. Ed Oliver punches it out. This week, a man-possessed Joey Bosa gets a strip sack on Justin Fields. And let's just talk about Joey Bosa for 1 second. What a phenomenal game Bosa had, having a 95.8 PFF grade, 7 pressures, 5 hurries, 1 sack, and 2 forced fumbles, all in only 26 snaps. The guy had almost a 50% pressure weight, had a 40% win rate, and 7 pressures. If the Bills can get this Joey Bosa for the rest of the season, this looks like Vaughn before he tore his ACL. This is the pass rusher the Bills have been chasing for a while. Drafted all those draft picks. I mean, including Rousseau, including the signing of Leonard Floyd, including the signing of Von Miller. If the Bills can get this Joey Bosa from now until February, this could be a difference maker. Bosa looked phenomenal. He looked really good last week. Obviously, I mentioned a lot of him getting abused on the option, on the read option from Lamar Jackson. But this week, against a quarterback that obviously has issues reading defenses and making quick decisions, the Bills took advantage of that. Bosa looked phenomenal. He looks like the old Joey Bosa before, the 10 to 15 sack guy. And I am very excited to see what the rest of the season looks like for Bosa. Because if the Bills have this type of Bosa for the rest of the season, it is going to be a fun season. And the Bills might have gotten their pass rusher they have been looking for to put opposite of Greg Rousseau. The Bills didn't even have Ed Oliver, and they were still getting production from the interior and getting pressure from the interior. And Rousseau and Bosa were having a field day. So it was a very big statement game for Sean McDermott, Bobby Babich, this whole defense, this rush defense. It was exciting. It was fun. It was a blowout. There was a lot of talk. The Bills obviously heard the talk. They set the tone early by that quick 3-and-out against the Jets, and they had their way with the Jets. They just are in a different tier above a lot of these other teams, and they just kind of flexed their muscles this week and said, listen, the Ravens are the Ravens, but against these other teams, we're just in a different class. And you got to give it hats off to the Bills. giving Josh a week off, quote unquote, and Jimbo just establishing the run and having a great week. The Bills defense setting the tone and saying, listen, we are not a bottom 5 defense. We're a very good defense. We just have issues against these top tier defenses. And that's going to be a conversation to have at a later date. But against teams like this, the Bills are a very strong team. It is on to Miami Thursday night at home in Highmark. We will see what that is, but the division could be wrapped up already by Thursday if the Bills put on another showing like this. I think New England might cause some headaches, but I think the Jets and the Dolphins, depending what happens Thursday, are not a match for the Bills. But let me know your thoughts below, guys. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this game? Do you guys think Joey Bosa is going to keep this productivity up, or do you think there's going to be a dip at one point? And what are you guys excited about for the rest of the season after this win for the Bills? Let me know your thoughts below, guys. I'd love to hear your comments below. As always, please subscribe to Bills Digest. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and every little bit helps. So subscribe, stay in touch, and stay informed because we got you guys covered for the rest of the Bills season. Like I said, Thursday against the Dolphins on prime time. As always, guys, go Bills, and have a great day.